All right, let's continue the Sonic talk. This is something that I've wanted to do for a little while. Our ode to this week is ranking almost all of the 3D Sonic games based on their most bogus level. And if you've played any 3D Sonic games, you know there is a significant amount of bogus in most of these games. A quick caveat, we have not played Sonic Unleashed on Wii, and we haven't played Sonic Boom. So those two are MIA, but the rest of them are here and accounted for. So maybe we'll do an updated list when we get to Boom and
what about Minecraft Sonic?
Oh my god, the whole
that
thing.
Whole game.
Oh my god,
that whole game
that
is
is
bogus.
Oh my goodness,
the bogus incarnate. All right, so there's 12 games on here. Let's start it off with number 12. This game didn't really have a lot of bogus. Didn't really have anything. Really,
not a lot of game.
Kind of just came and went. That was Sonic Forces, a 2-hour runtime on that. So we went with Null Space. That I think Null Space kind of encapsulates Sonic Forces, where it's just, oh no, we're in Null Space. Mash the button. All right, we're out in 10 seconds. That I think that perfectly encapsulates Sonic Forces.
I don't know how that 10 seconds was the most memorable part of the game, but it was, which is crazy to me.
I think it's just because nothing else was memorable at all.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing in that. Which when we played it, after playing a bunch of the other 3D Sonic games, in a weird way, it was kind of refreshing because some of those Sonic levels that we're going to be getting to in a little bit are ridiculous and are super stupid. So in one way, it was quite nice to not have to deal with any of that. On the other hand, looking back on it a couple of years later, you don't really remember much of anything of it.
Yeah, so Null Space was one part of the game that was spoiled for me because that entire Sonic Forces all leaked pretty early. And people were uploading YouTube videos of all the levels. And this is back when I still thought this was going to be a full-length, good Sonic experience. And so I was just like on YouTube one day, and there was a thumbnail that said Sonic Forces Null Space. And I was like, whoa, what does that mean? What is that? And so the entire game, I'm like, when am I going to get to Null Space? And I finally get there. I'm like, whoa, we're finally here. And then I was like, what? That's it? It's like 5 seconds. You don't even have to mash the button. Like, even if you don't mash the button,
it'll go anyways. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. There's no weight to anything in Sonic Forces. Oh my god, we're in Null Space. Okay, we're out. Oh my god, Sonic's captured. Okay, he's fine. Oh my god, all the enemies are back. Oh, just kidding. They're mirages. It is just a joke of a game. All right. We've talked about Forces so many times on this show.
We have.
So Sonic Forces rounds out the bottom of the list at number 12 for Null Space. And we are back. If things look a little different, if lighting looks a little different, if people are wearing different clothes, we had some technical difficulties partway through recording. Logan's power went out, so we're picking this up a little later.
It did. I heard this very loud thud, and then my entire block's power was out for like 2.5 hours. And I went down to a coffee shop where they did have power a couple blocks down the street. And this other guy comes in who lives like a block away from me. He's like, yeah, we just heard this big boom. And I'm like, man, if he heard it where he's at and I heard it where I'm at, some transformer went kaput somewhere. But we're back up and running now.
All right, why don't we get back into the list? We finished off number 12. That was Sonic Forces. So let's jump into number 11. This is ranking the Sonic games based on their most bogus level. And for Sonic Colors at number 11, we've got Terminal Velocity. Logan, you put this one on there.
This is right where you threw to me, and then I disappeared, I think, in our previous recording. Yeah, Terminal Velocity is not a bogus level. It's the final level of Sonic Colors, and you know those parts of Sonic 3D Sonic games in Unleashed Generation and Colors specifically, where you're just running down this straight line, and then there's like the 3 robots that fire their laser at you, and you just dodge back and forth. Terminal Velocity is just 3.5 minutes of literally that and nothing else, and it's just a super boring level, especially for the finale. It's better than some other finales on this list for being short and sweet, but for being the final level, it just really goes out with kind of a whimper. It's just a lame level.
Yeah, there's some
Colors isn't that bogus. Colors is
no. I mean, It's not the best Sonic game. It's got its own problems, but when we get to some of the later games on this list, those are true bogus, just nonsense levels. Here, it's like there's nothing offensive, but
No.
sometimes it's not very memorable.
Yeah.
Which is the case for, I think, the next two as well. So at number 10, we have Sonic and the Black Knight. Now, with Sonic and the Black Knight, you can kind of skip a lot of the levels. Man, that runtime was not very long. You can just kind of blast through. You do. Don't you have to like look up the levels that you need to get through? Was that Secret
That's
Rings?
Secret Rings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for Black Knight, you can skip a lot of these levels, and none of them are egregiously bad, which is, to be honest, kind of impressive after Sonic and the Secret Rings, because it kind of shares the same gameplay styles as that with the motion controls and the auto runner. So we put on here just the boss fights, specifically the boss fights where you're fighting the other the Sonic's friends, Knuckles or who Blaze was one of the other ones.
Yep.
Knuckles,
Yeah.
Blaze.
Silver?
Was there another one? Silver? And they're all
Yeah.
Knights of the Round Table. And we found out that you can just waggle the Wii remote and you will win in maybe 5 seconds. They're the stupidest boss fights I think I've ever done in any Sonic game. They're very
Maybe in
entertaining.
any
though.
game.
In any
Yeah,
game,
they're
yeah, that's
bad.
true.
I think I recall from our playthrough that Kevin did all 3 of these boss fights.
I think
I don't
so.
think we did any of them.
I don't
so-
think it mattered. They were so short. But it was
yeah.
so funny though. I think I was like dying laughing every time.
Yeah.
I don't think any of those took under 10 seconds. It was incredible. Not a great game for Sonic and the Black Knight, but not a whole lot of bogus in the levels. So you got to
don't
take
mind
what you
that
can
game.
get.
I think that game's fine.
Yeah.
Like for a Sonic game, it's
Sure.
it's not offensive. I don't think that's an offensive game.
No, it's okay. Not very memorable though.
No.
Number 9, we have Sonic Adventure with Lost World, not to be confused with Sonic Lost World, which is a later Sonic game. This is the one with the snake, right, Logan?
It is, yeah. You're in the pyramid. You're inside the pyramid in like the flashback land that you always see with Knuckles and the other echidna, whose name is escaping me right now. Anyone remember who I'm
Oh,
talking about?
the
It's T.
female one?
Starts with a T. I don't remember.
Tika?
What?
Tika?
Something like that.
T-
Yeah, I'll
T-I-K-A?
roll with that. Yeah, but there's this giant snake in the pit of the pyramid, and he's super annoying. And I seem to remember there's a scavenger level in like the Knuckles path too that is just super obnoxious inside of this thing. So I still think Sonic Adventure is actually pretty good. So I still don't think we're to the super bogus part of this list yet.
I do remember that the snake's physics, when you were standing on it, could get a little wonk of like trying to get on there and get off, and it was a little weird. And it would go underwater too, so it was like, oh, but
Mhm.
it wasn't too bad. It was all right.
Yeah.
Number 8, we've got Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow the Hedgehog is another game where you can skip a lot of the levels if you're just going from start to finish one time. You don't want to see the good and bad paths or the neutral paths. You can just play through
Mhm.
once and then be done with it, which is what we did because we didn't want to spend any more time with that game. So we didn't end up actually playing this level, which is Lost Impact. But Logan, you put this one on the list.
I did, yeah. So Shadow the Hedgehog, a lot of its bogus comes from those alternate paths because that's where the alternate objectives come in. So it's kind of like, you remember in Sonic Heroes, the Chaotix are the team that have like kill all 50 aliens, light all 100 torches.
Oh.
Nice shirt, Zach.
Thank you.
You're watching the video version, Zach's Team Chaotix shirt.
It's got a nice hat too.
Some of the alternate paths in Shadow are like that, where you have to do these alternate things. And eventually that will lead you to Lost Impact, which is a labyrinth level where you have to like find the right room to progress and like do the right thing in that room to open like a secret door. But the room, it's like very beige and all the rooms look exactly the same. And it's like this grid. And so it's just you're in square room after square room and you can run around that thing forever. And even on like a normal playthrough, like if you do everything right, the level takes like 8 minutes. So if you don't do everything right, you're in there forever. You're in there for a long time. So yeah. But the main path of Shadow is just get to the goal. So it's actually pretty fun to just blast through and get to the end.
And nice to have that option, even if the story is nothing. Although the story is
game
nothing
was
depending on
alright.
which way you go, I think.
Yeah. That game was a palate cleanser after 06 for us. I'm pretty sure that was the second game we played.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was quite short in comparison since you're only doing
Mhm.
one run through.
Like 7 levels, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't need to spend our time with levels like Lost Impact. We can avoid those. All right, we're starting to get down to the meat of this list. Number 7. This is a great game, Sonic Generations, and maybe the weakest link of that game, the one weak link, would be Planet Wisp. And we were tempted to put Planet Wisp for Sonic Colors as well, but we already have Planet Wisp once. We didn't really want to put it on it again, but Logan, why'd we put Planet Wisp on for Sonic Generations?
God, that level's like 15 minutes. That level is so long because it's the one where you have to use the rocket wisp and blast through like the industrial section. I really like the aesthetic of Planet Wisp. It's a gorgeous level with like really nice green fields and then these orange construction girders that are all over it. It's like that Odyssey level that Kevin and I really like in Super Mario Odyssey. Like
Steam Gardens. Similar. I think I remember the name. Something like that. Oh,
nice. Very similar to that. But yeah, the puzzles with the wisps, most of it is 2D, which does not work very well in the 3D Sonic games. So yeah, and it only comes in at number 7, still not super bogus, and that's the only level in that game I don't like. That's the only one. There's 9 main levels. That's the only one that's not good. So Sonic Generations is it the only like great or above game on this
actually
list?
Good game?
I would say yes.
Honestly, I think so. Some of these games have some fun levels and it's not a fun experience from start to finish.
I would argue that Sonic Adventure is still a good game. I think that game is still actually really good.
Sure.
Especially because you only have to do the Sonic playthrough. It's not like Sonic Adventure 2 where you're bouncing back and forth. It's like, if you just want to sit down and play the Sonic game, you can. And it's not bad. Yeah, I mean, it's old, so it shows its age a little bit. But honestly, playing Mario 64 and playing Sonic Adventure, I think Sonic Adventure is easier to play in 2022 than Super Mario 64.
Especially if you got Joy-Con drift.
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right, let's start to get into the meat of this. We're into the top half of the list. This is where it starts to get fun. Sonic Lost World, not to be confused with the level. This is the game, Sonic Lost World. So we've got a couple of these. An honorable mention to the levels where you have to play as a snowball. I think, Logan, you got stuck with some of these.
Oh my God, those are horrible. They're actually worse than the 3DS version, which is why I just threw them on here. You guys haven't played that, but Sonic Lost World 3DS is the most bogus Sonic game there is, and that is saying something, but they're bad in the Wii U version too.
So for our actual level, we picked Lava Mountain Zone 2, which, if you haven't played the game, this is later on, and it gives you these rails to grind on. And the jumps that it has you do in succession, you need to be perfect on these jumps or else you die. It is brutal, the timing of some of these, and it never ends. That's a whole level, is just jumping on these rails over and over, hopping between, like there's circular rails and you have to like time it right to get to the next one.
Isn't that like gates that are like closing and you have to like be on the
and
right
they're like
have been at the
you
end.
have to go right in the middle.
Yeah,
it's vertical sometimes.
It was brutal. And that game, we had to grind so many times for lives on this beehive level to make.
I like that level.
To make those levels more possible, because if you don't grind on that, if you don't grind on the beehive level, and you get to some of these later stages like Lava Mountain Zone 2, you're going to be getting so many game overs because you have to be perfect. The amount of practice on these levels to make sure that you can get the rail jumps right. It sucked. I hated that level a lot. But at least I didn't have to play the 3DS version.
What do you remember about Lost World, Zach?
Worst meal.
That was from the beehive level.
From the beehive. I remember grinding on the beehive level.
Because he would say that line right as you died to go back and grind again, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
God, I remember what all the group of enemies looked like. I don't remember any of their names.
Zavik? You don't remember Zavik?
Zavik was in Forces,
the big red one. There's like a lady. There's like
I don't remember any of the other ones. Zavik's the only one.
There's like a really emo one. There's like a really crazy Waluigi style purple one. There's the big one who likes food. There's the green girl. There's Zavik. I can't remember the other ones. There's only one more. The Deadly Six.
The old dude? Wasn't there an old dude?
I feel like there's an old guy.
That game
gotta-
is
we
not
gotta fact
particularly
check.
I'm looking up the
memorable.
physics.
Yeah.
Beyond.
I was thinking
That's
about that. It's been so long since we played these games now. Like, it has been a while since we've
Several
played some of
years.
this garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, with Lost Worlds, the rail levels, the rail level, the level where we had to grind, those are basically the only levels that I really
They stood
remember
out.
all that much. Everything
Yep.
else
You're
kind of
right.
just blends
It's
together.
this older blue dude with like the mustache
Yeah.
coming out of his nose. There he is.
Yep,
How
that's the
vague-
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That game's
Great
not
game.
great.
No.
Oh, but Sonic Colors, I think you could also argue is a good game. I think those are the three that you could argue
Sure.
are good games.
Colors, Adventure, and
and Generations.
Generations.
With Generations being the only great
yeah.
game.
The other ones are
those,
good
those
enough.
are good. Yeah, they're fine.
They're enjoyable enough.
Uh-huh.
All right, number 5, we've got Sonic and the Secret Rings with Levitated Ruin. Zach, I think you had this one.
I did have this one. So this is one of the levels on this list that I played, and I remember particularly hating it because of the physics of the wind that pushes you back as you run. It really messes with the flow of the level and how Sonic is progressing forward. It just pushes you off, and you're on like these floating castle pieces of ruin and stuff like that, and you're like going from piece to piece, and the wind is just constant, and it's so annoying. And I hated it. I don't even remember how long it took. I don't remember much else about the level. I just remember hating the wind with a passion, and
Well, it didn't-
that whole game sucked. So
It
a
didn't
standout
help
battle
that-
in that game is saying something.
You're gonna lose.
That's I was going to bring that up. The final boss fight, which I was doing, where I had to waggle the hardest I've ever had to before, as your assistant says, "You're gonna lose."
It's just so messed up.
It is horrible.
Yeah, with Levitated Ruin, it didn't help that the controls of that game are they're not good.
They're
Endless
motion
runner. You
controls.
really
Yeah.
don't have good control over Sonic, tilting it left and right to move him left and right with the Wii remote, and then you can stop him, right? And that's it.
Mhm.
Like I think that's
Mhm.
it.
And jump.
And jump. So
And,
I
like,
mean,
yeah, that's it.
having to deal with those controls and then the wind of like hopping between these different platforms, I remember was a real trial.
No such thing
Yeah.
as an arrow.
Through
Great
Who
song.
Dream? Though Who Dream?
Though who dream?
Oh, who dreamed?
Yeah, look at the lyrics for that song. They make
Seven
no
rings
sense.
in hand.
Seven rings in
Seven-
hand.
Yeah. Mhm.
Also, I don't know why they decided to make that play for like half of the game. You had that as the
every
opening,
loading screen,
and then
Mhm.
yeah, for the loading screens, and then when you finish a level or something,
Every time you finish the level, yeah.
yeah, it plays
You cross the
again.
goal, it's like make believe reborn. Every time.
It's literally like the only song.
I hate that game. It is
Sonic
the
and the
worst
Secret
Sonic
Rings.
game. It is
Yeah.
the worst one.
I would agree.
We've got
It's
more
worse
bogus
than those
levels,
things.
but Sonic and the Secret Rings is by far the least enjoyable. Like,
It's the most bogus game because there were choices when you think of Sonic and the Secret Rings. The whole game, like you mentioned it earlier, Kevin, it doesn't tell you which levels you have to do to beat the game. We had to look up a guide to know which levels that we needed to actually complete to get to the end because it doesn't tell you. They're like
Yeah.
really random. It's like deliver the 3 dinosaur eggs. That is one of the ones. It's like, why do we have to do that one? It's so ridiculous.
how does that progress the story? I delivered the eggs. Now I can fight the genie or whatever. Didn't that also have like a party game attached to it that was
It
really
did.
bad?
It had like 20 like Mario Party style mini games that are just awful.
So Sonic
'Cause
and
we
the
did-
Secret Rings has 2 awful games packed in. is quite
Because one of the
impressive.
last Sonic clubs we did before Generations, which was the big finale, was we did the
Mini
multiplayer mode of every single Sonic game. Oh boy, there's some garbage in there.
Yeah. Sonic and the Secret Rings. Awful game. Speaking of awful games, we've got Sonic 06 with Kingdom Valley. Now, Sonic 06, it does have a lot of bogus. You could go with any of the Mach Speed sections just because those are so unforgiving. The little jump you could do to the side, it's just like, well, it's over. You're dead. Like there are a lot of those. And Kingdom Valley features one of those as well, with some of the sweatiest palm moments, I think, in our playthrough of that game. Logan, you had the Mach Speed section. Like the regular
Yeah.
Kingdom Valley sucked too. I remember getting like I vaguely remember, I think it was Rouge or something, just flying around in that level and having no idea where to go and just like
Mhm.
flying around trying to find whatever we needed to find to get through there. So, I mean, the main part of that sucked, but the main thing I remember is the Mach speed section at the end.
This level is so long, and I was playing the Sonic version, and we get to the end of it, and we are down to the last life. I go into this thing with one chance to do it, or we have to replay the entirety of Kingdom Valley, and I did it. And there's like these pillars of this falling building that just fly at you that you have no chance of seeing beforehand. Oh my god. When I made it to the end, that was the most relieving moment in all of Sonic Club history for me, I think. So insane. But yeah, that level's just too long, and then it ends with this section that's dang near impossible, and then you have to redo the entire thing if you lose, which you're gonna lose.
Except we didn't.
We did.
We got lucky on that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and the other characters who have to go through there as well, their levels aren't
The
fun
silver
either.
section's like 35 minutes.
Basically, any level with Silver really does suck having to use his physics.
Mhm.
But yeah, Kingdom Valley, a mess having to get through that level and then getting subjected to a Mach speed section at the end. Sonic 06, but it's not number 1 on this list. It sits at number 4. Number 3,
That's
I'm
crazy.
honestly tempted to put this one at number 1 because the entire second half of this game is bogus. The first half is great. Honestly, it is super fun. And then you get to the second half and it just shifts to an absolute nightmare. And that's Sonic Heroes. So
And it
before we get
happens 4 times because you play all 4 teams, and for the first 3 levels every time,
Oh,
like, oh
God.
yeah, this is awesome, and then you get to the level 4, and it's like, oh my god.
So some honorable mentions. The main honorable mention, Rail Canyon, is a terrifying level because the game does not do a very good job of getting you to the next rail. So you're going to be doing jumps off of a certain rail section, and you
Spirits
have to
Unite.
pray that the game decides to throw you a bone and put you on the next rail. It will dump you off on the side, and then you have to like move your character back to hit the rail. And sometimes you look like you're going on the rail and you just blast right past it and die. There were
That's
times-
where Spirits Unite came from. That's what Espio says when he's getting ready to hop on the rail, but there's a Spirits Unite, and he just plummets to his death.
So it's the
So
funniest
yeah,
thing.
every time we go off, it just be Spirits Unite because it's like the spirits will decide if I land on the next rail or if I'm dead. There were times
is what it
because you
felt
would have
like.
to, there'd be like 3 or 4 rails right next to each other, and you would have to hop between the rails. This wasn't even like a big jump off to get to the next one. It was literally just like hopping right to your right or left to get onto the next rail. And sometimes you just like leap off and die. And it was like, what did I do? It just killed me. Rail Canyon is awful. Shout out to Final Fortress 2. Really long level. That thing sucks with some of the enemies you have to fight.
Oh
The main
my
one.
god.
What?
That level's just
Final
horrible.
Fortress.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah, it
levels
is.
get so stressful. I remember dying on the cannon at the end so many times before realizing that you had to like hold down on, I don't even know, like the jump. Like they would like hop to the other side, like do a little trick on the rail, and you'd have to like hold that to get up speed. I died on that
Oh
so
my
many
God.
times because I didn't
forgot
know what
about
to
that
do.
level.
I was like,
It's
this
like
is
this-
straight up impossible.
It's like this 14-minute level. You get to the end, and it's just like outrunning this laser beam on the rail. And then remember, you have to do like you have to launch yourself from the rail to the final
You have to
platform.
go
and
so fast.
we dipped it once. Oh my god, these games are so bad.
So yeah,
That's not even the worst level. We haven't
so-
talked about the worst level.
Sonic Heroes, you could pick, honestly, you could pick any level from the second half of that game, and it's not the wrong answer. So many of those are awful. But for our pick, we went with Mystic Mansion, and Zach got stuck with this one,
Can't
and
believe I got stuck
it
with
was
this level.
incredible.
This level's not that bad as a whole, but there is this one part at the end where you have to jump and latch onto
Homing
3
attack
float homing attack onto 3 floating ghosts in a path. So you have to go from ghost to ghost to ghost to the other platform, and it's at the very end of the level.
This level's what,
And
like
for
12 minutes or something?
It's long.
Yeah, it's something crazy like that. And for some unknown reason, the final ghost, I just could never ever get Sonic to home on to the final
You would
ghost.
disappear.
So
Mhm.
and Sonic would just fall to his death, and then I would run out of lives and have to redo the whole level over and over and over just to mess up this one seemingly super simple jump. And I don't know if it was just me or if there was just something in the universe that didn't want me to do it, but it was impossible. And then the first time I get it, you teleport into an area with a absolutely massive robot standing on an unbelievably tiny platform. And you guys were just like, okay, we did it. Don't blow this. I jump into him and I die immediately. I'm back behind the pumpkins. And then and then it takes me, and that was before the session where I just tried for an hour and didn't get it. We only had an hour. We wanted to do a one quick Sonic Club. We were
To
just
get through
like, you
this
just
level.
got to get through it. And I couldn't do it.
Also,
What-
remember your collapse on the forest level? That's not even that hard.
I don't even want to talk about the forest
That was
level.
funny. Well, what
Oh,
do we
that
have
was
to
good
do for
too.
that little platform? You had to use the team
The
attack,
Z
right?
move.
But you had to
Yes.
be. There were times when you would use the Z move, but you were too far away and it wouldn't do anything. And
Yes.
then you just wasted the Z move.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
God.
don't think I'm the same person that I was before playing that level.
Oh,
I
that's
think it may have broke a
frustrating.
piece of me that has never been
Oh
recovered.
no.
Sonic Heroes has some of the best moments of any of the games that we played. If you had to rank these levels based on like just the greatest amount of bogus, I think Sonic Heroes would be right at the top, if not at the top, because the second half of the game is so bad and you have to play it so many times for all of the teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And I was Team Chaotix for the Mystic Mansion in Sonic Heroes, and that's the one where it's like light all 100
Oh,
torches.
yeah.
And I was down to my last life, but I did it without a game over. It was a nerve-wracking because that was so long. The Chaotix levels in that game are awful. They are so bad.
Shout out to Chaotix.
Yeah.
And
love
Sonic
that.
Heroes for some reason is still Zach's favorite game, even though it
Such a good
broke
first half.
him.
I never got past the first half as a kid. That's the thing.
But yeah, I'll stand by if you play the just the first half of the levels for most of the teams, it's quite fun. It's a good time. Just do
Yeah.
not play any of the second half levels because they are awful.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I feel like it's more like first third is more accurate. I
First
think
third.
it turns to trash sooner than that.
Because what you had
Yeah.
the green
Seaside
area,
Hill is good.
Seaside Hill is fun. The town, the metro area is
Mhm.
pretty solid. The forest, Zach got stuck on that, but I don't think it's too bad.
And then the
Okay.
casino is where it starts to go downhill,
Casino
and then it
is
never
not
recovers.
Yeah,
And
that's
there's
true.
the mansion
So-
and the rails and the fortress and like 3 other ones we're not even thinking of right now that are just awful.
So basically,
They're
there's
all in
3
there.
good levels that you play with the different teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That game took forever with
Mhm.
those bogus levels and having to play it so many times. I also remember that the final boss was like stupid as well. Wasn't that the one where you had
Metal
to like?
Sonic.
Was that Metal Sonic or was that Eggers?
Metal
Was that
Sonic was the
Eggman?
final boss after beating
Oh,
all
No,
four
the final
players.
boss of each of the stories where you had to like
Yeah,
run along
that
there
was
and then you
Eggman.
get to the main like circular area
Yep.
with Eggman's
Oh my
mag.
And you would have to do it again.
Yeah. And you have
He
to
would
and you
lose that
use
chunk
you
of
use
health,
the
yeah.
strong character and you just chuck around the other 2 people. You just spam throw them to try and deal damage. Yeah, that's good stuff. Jeez.
Yeah, good game. Number 2, Sonic Adventure 2. Some of this game is fun, but a lot of it is not. Shout out to Mad Space for having awful gravity physics and the fact that they nerfed the Chaos Emerald Seeker or whatever you call it. Like in the first game, if you were near any of the Chaos Emeralds when you're searching as Knuckles, it would let you know. It would be like, oh, here it is, even if it was the second or third one. But in Sonic
Mhm.
Adventure 2, they change it. So only the one that you are currently on, whether that's the first one, or if you find that, then the second one or the third one will show. So you will be flying around that level forever, waiting for that thing to go off to try and find these. And the gravity
Yeah.
is just a nightmare.
That's nonsense.
That was a really long level, and that sucked. But we went with the final stage of Sonic Adventure 2. You're having to play as all of the different characters, and some of the moments are absolutely brutal. I had the Knuckles section where you are underwater and you have to swim through this tube. And at the end of the tube, there is this propeller that will launch you back. And if you get launched back once, you will die. You will drown.
I remember the timing being very tight for this level.
You had to be perfect. You had to get it off just right to get to a point to avoid the propeller. And when you would get under it, the propeller would go like right away. You had to be perfect. So one, you had to be perfect.
There was some BS where there were like spikes. There were like spikes on the bottom of the floor.
It was something like that.
It would just throw you into, and then if you hit those, your run was basically over because of the recovery frames. Dude, you didn't have to be perfect. You literally had to be better than perfect. You had to be perfect, and then the game had to like glitch out to where you got through it. It was so insane. That took. I feel like that is the longest thing you were ever stuck on, Kev. I think there's nothing you were.
I was on that for a while. It was
like over an hour.
That was painful. I wanted to die. It was so bad. And that's not even the end of it, because you have to play as some of the other characters. And to be honest, anytime you have to play in the mechs of the Eggman or Tails, it's a nightmare. And you had to do that here.
So many of those levels. It's just based on our natural rotation. I got so many of those.
You guys remember any specific points of the final stage of Sonic Adventure 2? Did we split that up? I think we did. Did we?
I don't remember what
Or did I get stuck with that?
I think you did the whole thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did.
I think I blocked that out of my brain.
Because nothing else was as bad. Like Tails ran around like the Emerald Coast, and there were like big giant purple explosions everywhere, but that was fine. And yeah, I don't remember any of it being horrible except we did split it up. Because I did the Eggers part, and it was horrible. It just popped back in my brain.
In some sort of like space station.
It was in like the space station, and it was horrible. Yeah. I don't remember. I feel like we each did one of each type. Or no, because there's
how was it?
Three of us. I don't remember how
it's been a little while.
Yeah, I don't know how it happened, but yeah,
we had to mix it up so you didn't get Tails every single time. I think we eventually had to like change up how we rotated.
Well, because our rotation is just 3 people going through, but if you do that, then you kind of get the same character every time, because it's kind of because there's three different play styles, and so you just get stuck with one or the other.
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure 2. I mean, if you're playing the Sonic levels, it's fine enough, and then Shadow is chilling too. But the problem is that that's not even half the game, because then you've got Tails and Eggman, and then you have Knuckles and Rouge, and none of those are fun. So there's a third or less if any of the Sonic or Shadow levels aren't very fun. Yeah. But that's not number one. Number one is Sonic Unleashed and Eggman Land. If we were talking about how some of these levels were long, we were talking about how like Mystic Mansion, 12 or 13 minutes, and it's just a gauntlet, and if you die, you have to start over again. Try over an hour of Eggman Land, and on our playthrough, about 40 minutes in, our game crashed.
I can remember the screenshot where it crashed so vividly in my mind doing
what
the wall
over
slide.
the lava? And
yeah, you were doing like the Sly Cooper like slide along like a wall over a pit of lava. Oh my god.
Yeah, because we were the werehog, and we were like grabbing and like sliding along with his stretchy arms, and then just oh my god, I couldn't believe it.
And if you're gonna get a crash on any level, Eggman Land is not the one. This is the most egregiously long Sonic level in Sonic's history, well over an hour, especially if you don't know what you're doing. If this is like your first time playing through it, you will be here for forever. And, if you die enough times, sorry, dude, you gotta go back.
Yeah. The levels, the length is what makes this so horrible. The level is not super cheesy, and the crash. I don't know if this gets number one for us if it didn't crash on us, just because we had to redo the entire thing.
I think it'd still be in top 3. But maybe Sonic Heroes or Sonic Adventure 2 would take it over this, but I think the crash kind of put it over.
Because we didn't fail this level. It wasn't like Final Stage where you died probably 30 times underwater, or Mystic Mansion where Zach biffed that homing attack like 15 times. Like, we completed this level pretty easily. It was just the length is just unacceptable. An hour long. Have you ever played a platformer with an hour-long level where if you ran out of lives, you had to start over? Because I can't think of one. That's just insane.
And not knowing that in advance, like if you're a kid playing through this and it's like, all right, we got one thing left, and it just doesn't end, and you're like, what is going on? Oh, yeah. I mean, like thinking back to how Zach was stuck on that level in Heroes for like an hour, and just the main playtime of Eggman Land was about that. Is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And even if we didn't die enough times to get a game over, once you get towards the end and you're like 45, 50 minutes plus in, it just gets more stressful, because then it's like, shoot, if I die here, I got to do this whole thing over again.
Mm-hmm.
So that leaves you open to making some stupid mistakes and possibly having to do that over again. Sonic Unleashed is a pretty difficult game.
It is hard.
Oh, yeah. That music. But some of the levels are fun. Daytime
Yeah.
stages, they're a good time.
Which
Collecting the
continued
medals in the
into
daytime
Colors and
stages.
Generations.
Not as fun.
Oh my god.
So that is our ranking. Number 12, Sonic Forces in Null Space. Number 11, Sonic Colors Terminal Velocity. Number 10, Sonic and the Black Knight with those stupid boss fights. Number 9, Sonic Adventure with Lost World. Number 8, Shadow the Hedgehog Lost Impact. Number 7, Sonic Generations with Planet Wisp. Number 6, Sonic Lost World with Lava Mountain Zone 2. Number 5, Sonic and the Secret Rings, Levitated Ruin. Number 4, Sonic 06 with Kingdom Valley. Number 3, Sonic Heroes, Mystic Mansion, Rail Canyon, Final Fortress, the second half of the game, second 2/3.
Yeah.
Any of those. Number 2, Sonic Adventure with Final Stage. And number 1, Sonic Unleashed, Eggman Land.
There it is.
Great list.
Great levels, great
Great
games.
list.
Now they're all bogus, but they provide the most memorable moments. You go to
They
the
do.
bottom of the list, and it's kind of hard to remember some of those games, but the things that stick out from our time playing through those games is basically the top half of that list.
Yep.
Just all of those levels and the pain of playing through that, and realizing that if I played these as a kid, I think I'd be scarred. If I was like 10 years old and playing through some of these games.
That was me.
I guess
Oh my God.
I guess I'd just be Zach and not play the second 2/3 of Sonic Heroes. And just
I don't think
keep
you
playing
would be
games that
scarred,
I
because
love.
when you're a kid, you're just like, I don't know what's going on, whatever. But when you're an adult, you're like, wow, this is terrible game design. This is awful. Yeah.
That was a fun list. I'm glad we finally did that. I've been wanting to do that sort of list for a while.
Yeah.
There it is, ranking all of the 3D Sonic games based on their most bogus level. You heard it here. Sonic Unleashed with Eggman Land. Number 1. Don't play Sonic
Woo!
Heroes. The second
Don't.
2/3 of that.
It's not worth
do
it.
it.
It doesn't hold up.
You will lose something like Zach did.
I'll never get it back.
It's stuck in that game forever.